Remember when you couldn't order a ride at the press of a button? Or get online without hearing this? Or get Domino's delivered to over 150,000 unexpected outdoor locations? Wait, what? Introducing Domino's Hotspots. You can finally get pizza delivered right to the beach, the quad, or the dog park. Not at home? Not a problem. Find a Domino's hotspot near you and get 2 medium 2-topping pizzas delivered for $5.99 each. 2-item minimum. Handmade pan pizzas will be extra. Ask for this limited time offer. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary. Restrictions apply. Visit Domino's.com for details on Domino's hotspots.
I wish everybody could see what's going on in the control room right now. Stanzik is out of his mind. Dancing, hand signals, throwing them up in the air.
It's called vibing, Trey? Vibing.
You're vibing.
Vibing is the word. We're not doing toe tapping.
We're not doing toe tapping or knee slapping.
We're not doing finger tapping or knee slapping. We're doing vibing.
Snappy.
I'm good with that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm good. It's just not dancing, like Cliff said. I just want to know that while everybody thinks I was wrong, Cliff is wrong as well.
Not wrong. It's the fact that you said toe tapping. It's just sounds very old.
Sometimes, you know what? Sometimes old isn't bad, you youngin', okay? Yeah. Maybe you should take a little more example from your elders instead of going on to think you have all the world's problems figured out. You youngin'.
I got everything solved.
I will say this, 99.9% of the time, I am so with you.
Yeah.
I'm with Cliff on this one.
Well, there you go.
Glad you're with us, though.
See the next time I play golf with you.
That's 0 for 700 days, I think, at this point. Golic and Wingo, ESPN Radio and ESPN News, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests will join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. We have been heavy in college football. We talked to Mark Richt of Miami, Ed Orgeron of LSU about their big showdown, 8 versus 25 coming up Sunday night, 7:30 Eastern on ABC at Jerry World, AT&T Stadium. Looking forward to that. And we'll have Brian Kelly coming up in just a little bit from Notre Dame, talk about the Fighting Irish season and what happens there. We got a lot to get to, and let's remind you to get in touch with us. 1-800-Flowers.com Twitter feed at Golic and Wingo, or we shouldn't even do the or thing anymore.
No.
Somebody's not here. I
think we're done with that.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Or call us in, 860-506-5505. We're asking for your craziest sibling rivalry in light of the fact that, once again, Venus and Serena Williams will meet. It'll be the 16th time they'll meet at a Grand Slam. They'll do it Friday night at the third round of the U.S. Open. It'll be the 30th time they've met in any tournament, but the 16th time in a Grand Slam.
Yeah, looking forward to that. I mean, how long these two have been dominating, as we've talked about. This has been a topic many times, the greatest siblings. It's them, Peyton and Eli Manning. Obviously, there are others out there as well, but what they have done and what one of them is, and Serena possibly being the greatest tennis player of all time, men or women, one of the great athletes of all time as well. So it's pretty cool. Again, the earliest they're meeting in this Grand Slam in the third round, but still fun to watch.
Absolutely. And this hour of Golic and Wingo is brought to you by La Quinta Inns and Suites. Book at LQ.com and win at business. And let's get you started with what's trending. And speaking of winning, Christian Yelich won a lot in one game. The Brewers outfielder not only hit for the cycle, but also went 6 for 6 as Milwaukee beat the Reds 13-12. He becomes, Mike, the fourth player in the live ball era, not the modern era.
Not the modern era, which is 1900, but the live ball era, which is 1920.
Again, because nothing's changed since then.
There you go.
To have 6 hits in a cycle, joining Ian Kinsler in 2009, Rondell White in 1995, and Bobby Veach.
Bobby Veach in 1920.
Back in 1920.
We're still looking, Riley, no nickname for Bobby Veach?
No nickname, but he was part of a Tigers outfield that was known as the, I believe, $100,000 outfield.
The $100,000 outfield.
There you go.
And I'm going to buy you a $100,000 microphone because I could barely hear what you were saying.
There you go.
Riley, be like that former guy. What's his name? Larry?
Larry or Brett.
Limbos? Something like that. Whenever you want to speak, just lean into it. Project, Riley.
Bobby Veach, no nickname, a little disappointed, yet he is one of the 4 now that have gone 6 for 6 and hit for the cycle. Christian Yelich, what was his comment after the game?
I'm so tired.
He did. He said, I'm really
so
tired.
I'm just so tired. That was my favorite part about the whole thing. And again, we looked it up. It is much rarer to go 6 for 6 or better in a game. In other words, perfect with at least 6 at-bats and 6 hits or 7, 8 for 8. It is way rare to do that than actually hit for the cycle.
Right, hitting for the cycle has been done 78 times in the last 20 seasons, and going 6 for 6 or better 79 times in the last 118 years.
Crazy. So,
pretty amazing.
And he doesn't have to choose because he did them both.
There you go.
He did them both all the way around.
They're not mutually exclusive.
No, they are not for him. Mm-mm. They are for most people, but not for him. Ian Kinsler, Rondell White, and of course, BV, Bobby Veach. Well, it is a really good day to be
Aaron,
because Aaron Rodgers agrees to that mammoth contract extension with the Packers. 4 years, $134 million. That could be worth up to $180 in total money. That, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter. But again, 4 years, $134 million. He's getting basically all of that, Mike. $103 million in total guarantees. An average value of $33.5 million per year.
Yeah, we all saw it coming. I mean, can you pick right now who will surpass that?
Wow.
Which quarterback will surpass that? Throw that out there to everybody. At Golic and Wingo. Which quarterback?
That's a great
will
question.
Be the next high? Again, most of it is timing.
Yeah.
Of you have to be obviously a great quarterback, and you have to be up before another great quarterback to be the next highest paid quarterback in the NFL.
And again, let's be clear. What you said, timing is so important. It's not about whether or not you're the best.
Right.
It's about whether or not you're good enough, and it's your turn to kick the can.
Well, I mean, the one of the great examples of that is Joe Flacco.
Yes.
Joe Flacco bet on himself, won the Super Bowl, got a monster deal, the highest paid at the time, and he wasn't the best quarterback in the league. He had a great year, don't get me wrong, especially a great postseason. And I'm not saying that in a negative way, man. It's timing. Grab yours while you can.
Yep.
But right now, Aaron Rodgers, most guaranteed money at $103 million, then Matt Ryan at $100, Matthew Stafford at $92, Andrew Luck at $87, Kirk Cousins at $84. Which quarterback in the future will make more than $103 million guaranteed dollars?
The bottom line in here is the bottom line, and that the finances of the NFL, despite what everyone says, are very, very healthy. And a contract like this, and the one that we believe is coming very soon for Aaron Donald, our front office insider Louis Riddick says, fellas, go get your money.
This is what Aaron, Donald, Khalil Mack want to see.
Yes.
Because let's just expand this bigger picture. We know where the game is going.
Yep.
We know it's a passing league. We know that physicality is really being limited. Pass rushing linebackers right now, I'm sitting here going, look, the top of the market for other positions that are premium positions that can combat what are now some very, very, very good quarterbacks, they're sitting there going, yes, because it does trickle down to us now. And
yes,
we want the top end of our market expanded too. It's a good time right now. If you're a premium player, dig your feet in because the money's there to be had.
And the other thing, Mike, I take away from these contracts, not only is the money there right now to be had, I believe the NFL believes the money's going to be there for a long, long
while. It's going to be there. For anybody that thinks that while the ratings may be down, still one of the more viewed products there is today, without question. And the TV money is already set in stone for another over handful of years. The streaming money that's going to be coming in, it's not they're not going to make less money. It's
Correct.
just not going to happen. So the money's going to be there. So we're eventually going to break out of this other thing that said no $20 million cap hit quarterback team has ever won a Super Bowl.
Just a matter of
That's
time.
going to change because there are going to be more and more quarterbacks that have a $20 million cap. And the only reason it hasn't been because Tom Brady has basically made sure his amount was still in a way where the team could do some other things, even though the team doesn't really spend money on other players either.
And those years, he actually made more than $20 million, but it wasn't a cap hit of $20 million.
Right.
But again, what you just said is really important. In an era of declining television ratings, if you have a sure thing, people will flock to that and cling onto it like grim death. Over 70 of the top 100 rated television programs last year, Mike, were NFL football games. So, yes, in a declining market, to be the king of that declining market is actually more valuable. I think in 2007, 8 of the top 100 programs were NFL football games. Now, that speaks more to how people watch television, but if you're the one thing that you know people are going to watch, they will fight for the right to broadcast that. Yep. And you mentioned the most important part of that puzzle. The NFL has never sold their streaming or digital rights. They've allowed Yahoo to do it.
Right.
They've allowed Twitter to do it. They've allowed Amazon to do it. At some point, they're going to say, who wants it all, come get it. And that will be a massive revenue flow and revenue stream coming in for the NFL.
Guys are going to continue to get their money as the salary cap continues to go up. But congratulations, Aaron Rodgers. So he is with them. He's 34 now until he's under contract till he's 40.
Right.
And he's not putting any time limit on when he can play, and that's a team that they can build around him. Again, given the cap number, how much you can build around, that's one of the issues is when your quarterback gets that big a chunk is the money you have to build the rest of your team.
Yep, and that's one big quarterback story. The other one and what's trending is, well, we know that Sam Darnold is trending toward being the starter week one for the Jets because the Jets have shipped off their best quarterback this summer, and that would be Teddy Bridgewater. Bridgewater goes to the Saints for a third-round pick, And there's a lot of levels to this move as well, Mike.
Yeah, there really is. I think it's great, obviously, for Sam Darnold to start and have Josh McCown in that quarterback room. He's another set of eyes and like a coach on the field or on the sideline or in the weight room or in the meeting room, in the film room to help out Sam Darnold learn all he can. But everybody, remember, as much as you're high on Sam Darnold, he's a rookie and he's going to play like a rookie at times, probably a lot of times. Doesn't have a ton of great weapons on the outside at this point. Offensive line can be a little shaky. We'll see how it all gels together. But remember, this is a draft pick for the next 10 to 12 years, not for this year.
Nope.
You'll see some struggling. You'll see some great things as well, but you'll see some struggling. But understand that this is absolutely for the long run, and it seems like they got a good one for that. And for Teddy Bridgewater, a guy who was a first-round pick, guy who was a starter, had the horrific injury. Now he's in a position, I know in 1 year he can be a free agent, and we'll see how New Orleans deals with that. But that guy, let's be honest, he wants to get somewhere where he can have a chance to play.
No question.
And that's not going to be in New Orleans. For New Orleans, great move. In case something does happen to Drew Brees, you have a quality quarterback to come in and keep your head above water or more. But for Teddy Bridgewater to play again, it's not going to be in New Orleans, especially if Drew Brees thinks he can play 2, 3, 4 more years.
Look, this was an idea to shore up any position of weakness for the Saints for a championship run. And they're one of those teams, along with the defending champion Eagles, the Rams, the Vikings, who all believe we have the ability and the talent to win the whole damn thing. And now they have the greatest insurance policy maybe and a backup quarterback in Teddy Bridgewater. So we'll see how that plays out for the Saints this year and what it means for Teddy going forward after 2018. So that's one of the things we're watching in the NFL. Of course, this is the first full week of college football. We're really excited about it. We had both Mark Richt and Ed Orgeron from the matchup of two ranked opponents going against each other Sunday night. There are 4 ranked matchups this weekend, including a place that I think you're familiar with, Mike.
I'll be there later today.
South Bend is going to be rocking Saturday night as 12th-ranked Notre Dame welcomes in 14th-ranked Michigan. And we're delighted to welcome in the head coach of Notre Dame, Brian Kelly, on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Brian, nothing like easing into the season with a real tough one to start in 14th-ranked Michigan here.
That's how we roll, Trey. That's how we go at Notre Dame. We've been trying to get this matchup going again since the last time we played was 2014, and it's the only time we can get it in our schedule. And we're excited about the matchup. Our guys knew a long time ago that this was the opener, so not a lot of room for error in the opener, but certainly one that I think is great for college football.
And Coach, let me apologize to you, and I think Cliff should also apologize to me that when you were introduced, how in the hell, Cliff, do you not play this song? Play it, please. Thank you. I mean, come on. I mean, you have the head coach at Notre Dame. You got a guy sitting here that played at Notre Dame, a family that went to Notre Dame. You don't play that fight song? Coach, I apologize for
Mike, you are obviously, when we talk about celebrity pickers, your experience being on radio as long as you have, I don't know why you're not the celebrity, because you've had so much experience, and you bring that every day with Trey. So thanks for helping him out with that.
Word is that it's a catering bill. That is the reason I won't be the celebrity pickers, that I'll cost too much on the food bill.
We've got money. We'll just scrape it off the dome. We'll take care of it.
Coach, you don't understand. He's going to be 17 beers in by the time that thing shows up. So it could get ugly pretty quickly. That is one of our
distinctions too. We can tailgate here too. We can work that into it.
All right. This is and we always talk about trying different things. And you've been a coach for a long time, and you go through starts of a lot of seasons, and you think of different ways to do it. So we know at Notre Dame is different, not being in a conference. That after the close Georgia loss in week 2. Once that loss hit in Miami, at 2 losses without a conference championship, it's very difficult, obviously, to get in that college football playoff. And then you have the last loss against Stanford in the regular season. So you were talking about end of season, and I think the word you used was chaos. Explain to people how you are trying to help the team with the things you are doing to create chaos for the players to have to deal with these situations.
Well, I didn't think I did a very good job with a fairly young team last year of handling on the road a very chaotic situation, in particular at Miami, where, you really have to stay in the moment. You have to eliminate all the noise, all the distraction. It was, a hectic environment, and I didn't think I prepared our football team for those chaotic moments, whereas, you have to really be able to have a laser focus. And so I try to create some situations in the off season that were chaotic in practice, where guys had to really focus on the moment, staying in the moment, staying on that next play, and not letting the surroundings affect how they played the game. And I thought that on my part was not a very good job of preparing. So I want to make sure that as we get into those situations this year, whether it's the Michigan game or whoever we play down the road, we've got a tough schedule, that our guys can stay in that moment. So I just this is my 28th year doing it. You're looking for every opportunity to prepare your football team for any situation that might arise.
I thought it was pretty wild. I know the defensive plays, you pulled your best player, Drew Tranquill, out right before the play and told the players you got to deal with it, that you had a helicopter like the blades down close to the field and loud music. But the one that got me, when you put the soccer ball in front of the center, I really and basically told him, deal with this, try and figure out a way. That had to make Sam Mustipher, your center, really kind of shake his head a little bit on what he had to do with that ball.
He handled it well. I mean, I think all these situations, and we could have a narrative on this forever, right? In terms of scripting everything from when they're 8 years old instead of when we were kids, go to the playground and figure it out, pick the team, sort it out. I mean, I think some handle that better than others, and I think it was a pretty good narrative on those guys that just figure it out. Drew Tranquill jumped out at corner when we took the corner out and pressed him up and ran the guy out of bounds. And so, you look for those kinds of situations where guys just adapt and react and other guys kind of freeze up. So it gave me some thought to think about. Sometimes we shouldn't script everything, let these guys react to what are going to be common situations in big games.
Brian Kelly with his head coach at Notre Dame. Brian, that's really a great point, and who does a great job of that in the NFL is Bill Belichick. He will script things at the end of a practice or during a preseason game. Like he'll run somebody in real quickly in a situation where, okay, our quarterback is down. We got to get the backup in here and get it going very quickly because, as you said, everybody has a plan, right? And our friend Herm Edwards, any plan that can't be changed is a bad plan. Things are going to go wrong in a football game more often than not. And the mental aspect of how you deal with that is almost just as important as the game plan you have going into the contest.
Well, I think, Bill has shown that, throughout his career that, in a league where there's great parity, how do you win as consistently? And it's really those small details that he's able to capture within his football organization that, a situation where somebody goes down, he's able to plug and play guys. And you don't do that just because by accident. He handles those situations in practice, and he's prepared for them when he plays week in and week out. So, again, this got a lot of play because it sounded cute. It wasn't cute, and it wasn't done to be cute. It was to really focus in. I think I got a really good football team, and I want to be able to prepare them for any of these eventualities that may happen throughout the season and what's going to be a very difficult schedule for us.
Yeah, I think one thing I've learned over the years of being involved in football and talking about it, coaches don't do anything to be cute. They never is really part of the scheme. So there's a reason for everything. So that's definitely understood. Your quarterback, Brandon Wimbush, is going to be the starter. Certainly we know he moves well. The completion percentage was very low last year, so I know that was a big thing you worked on. What are some of the things you have done to work on that, and how has he looked from that aspect of his game?
He's made really great progress. I think the best way to encapsulate where he is that he drives the ball very well. He's a very good putter. He struggles chipping it. And the chips are these small completions around the line of scrimmage, screens, quick drop-offs. Those are very important to high-percentage quarterbacks, keeping drives alive. He was not very good at those last year. Those are touch passes. Those are the chips that gets up and down and saving rounds and saving drives. And so he's worked on it. He's better at it. He'll continue to get better at it. He started 11 games, went 9-2 for us last year, threw accounted for over 30 touchdowns. He's a good quarterback. He's got to continue to get better. But he obviously has other things that he can do for us, and he can use his legs. So he's a really good quarterback who's getting better each and every week, and expect him to play well against Michigan.
Now, Brian, you're speaking my language. I'm trying to immerse Golic into full golf mode. He's fighting me on it, so I'm glad you're helping me with that analogy. And listen, before we let you go, looking at Michigan, the biggest challenge for you guys against this team will be what?
not having negative plays against a very talented. I think they probably have 4 potential first-round picks on defense. So they're going to get their plays, but you can't turn them into havoc plays. I call them havoc plays, which are turnovers or huge negative plays. So minimizing the havoc plays on defense, if we can do that, contain the quarterback. He's going to make some plays, but contain him. We've got a great chance to win.
Listen, and containing havoc, just make sure Golic is nowhere near the catering table. Right? That will contain havoc, and that'll be a good start to the day.
Yeah, nothing like easing into the season, as your game is one of 4 ranked teams playing this first weekend of college football. Coach, best of luck in this game and this year. I'm sure I'll run into you this weekend at some point, and hope all goes well.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on the show.
You got it, Coach. Appreciate it.
That's a tough one, man. It's a tough start, but there are some that and listen, it's like one of those things, just like Mark Richt said at the U when he said, boy, you start to think about it, the schedule in this game. These schedules are done in advance. So yes, you knew this game was coming. It's not like it's a surprise to anybody. So you just deal with it. It's like, oh, how's the bye this week going to treat you? Well, if you have a bye, you're going to say it's going to be good for you. If you're playing a team like a Michigan-Notre Dame matchup, both teams are going to say, hey, it's a great test for us right now. This is what we need. We'll find out about this team, and it could be a great springboard going forward. You just deal with the situation. And it was interesting with Coach Kelly talking about how he didn't feel he prepared the team well enough and wanted to kind of give them some experience of something not scripted. And that's so true.
Yes.
About kids today, everything is planned, where when we were growing up, it wasn't planned. And let these kids learn a little bit about things that don't go as planned and how you deal with it.
Listen, football is chaos. It's managed chaos.
It is.
And I listen, Belichick is great at that at the NFL level, and I think Brian is doing a great job incorporating that into what he's doing at Notre Dame.
Support for the Golic and Wingo Show podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Let's talk about buying homes for a minute. Because of rising interest rates, there's a lot of unpredictability when it comes to buying a home these days. It's causing a whole lot of anxiety with folks. Well, our friends at Quicken Loans are doing something about it. They're calling it the power buying process, and here's how it works. Quicken Loans will verify your income, assets, and credit in less than 24 hours to give you a verified approval. This gives you the strength of a cash buyer. Then once you're verified, you qualify for their all-new exclusive Rate Shield approval. First, they lock your rate for up to 90 days while you shop. Now here's the best part. If rates go up, your rate stays the same. But if rates go down, your rate also drops. You win either way. It's the kind of thinking you'd expect from America's largest mortgage lender. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Golic. Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year purchase transactions. Additional conditions or exclusions may apply. Based on Quicken Loans data in comparison to public data record. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSconsumeraccess.org number 3030.
Remember when you couldn't order a ride at the press of a button? Or get online without hearing this? Or get Domino's delivered to over 150,000 unexpected outdoor locations? Wait, what? Introducing Domino's Hotspots. You can finally get pizza delivered right to the beach, the quad, or the dog park. Not at home? Not a problem. Find a Domino's hotspot near you and get 2 medium 2-topping pizzas delivered for $5.99 each. 2-item minimum. Handmade pan pizzas will be extra asked for this limited time offer. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary. Restrictions apply. Visit Domino's.com for details on Domino's Hotspots.
Golic and Wingo, ESPN Radio and ESPN News. We are presented by Progressive Insurance, and we're delighted now to be joined on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line by the Rocket Man, Rockets GM Daryl Morey, who joins us. Daryl, thanks for being with us. You gave us one of the sound bites of the year with that we are obsessed with finding ways to beat the Warriors. I have to ask, in all the time that has passed since Game 7, has there been a day where you haven't thought about those 27 straight missed three-pointers?
I've thought about losing. I don't know about the 27 straight. But Chris Paul getting hurt. Thought about a lot of things. But we're back at it. We're gonna run it back and see if we can take him down this year.
Yeah, listen, you are a numbers guy. You're a math wizard. So just in your mind, have you calculated the odds of the probability of this team that made so many threes actually missing 27 in a row?
It's a little hard to calculate because you've got, you have conditions that don't actually come up that often. But it's very remote, let's just say that.
Yeah, I was going to say, plus you probably didn't want to calculate it as well.
No, it doesn't. It's not productive. It won't happen again.
So as far as going into last season, that was your thought process, is we're doing what we can to beat Golden State. And given what happened, getting as close as you did and the injury to Chris Paul. Going into this season, how much different is your feeling about the hill you need to conquer as opposed to going into last season?
It's the same hill in Iwo Jima or whatever. It's they're the best team. They're still the team to beat. So we're pretty focused on them. I think so is the rest of the NBA.
Yeah, everybody is. Daryl Morey, the Rockets GM, proud Northwestern University alum, joins us this morning. Listen,
go Wildcats.
There you go. They're playing Purdue tonight.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Listen, this is the last question on this, but you're such a math guy. I had to ask, did you ever think about how many of those threes you would have need to made? The most amazing thing about that game is you missed 27 straight, and you only lost by 9 points. I mean, if 3 of them had gone in, do you think that would have been enough to tip the scales?
We actually rebounded a really high percentage of those, so it's a little hard to know. We had a high offensive rebound. We actually scored a lot on those misses. So it probably would have taken more than 3.
Gotcha.
I promise Trey won't ask any more questions.
I'm fascinated. I'm sorry.
I know he is. All right. For the league, for your conference, what did it mean when you heard and saw that LeBron signed with the Lakers?
I mean, obviously he's unbelievable, and he's going to make them better immediately. And I think he's been to the finals 8-9 straight times. So we'll see if we can end that streak. Obviously.
Yeah, listen, the West is going to be where all the action is going to be one more time as Rockets GM Daryl Morey is with us on the phone. Now, you recently said that LeBron is quantifiably better than Michael Jordan. How did you get to that conclusion, and how much flack did you get for saying that?
Well, I got a lot of flack. You can't really go wrong with you. I don't want to go into it too much. It was just a throwaway comment. They asked, if you're just looking at who lifted his team more and up the championship probability of his teams, that's basically what I was talking about. But there are lots of ways to look at who the greatest player is. So I don't think anyone can go wrong picking either one.
That in a radio setting is never a throwaway comment.
Yeah. That's an accelerant.
I figured this is your business, not mine. I'm just supposed to build teams. I don't know what's gonna help you guys so much.
We appreciate the content from you. As far as moving forward, we see now the NBA, the NCAA, USA Basketball, ever since the committee came together to start talking about what could possibly change in the NBA, like a one-and-dones being done maybe in a few years. According to that report and some of the things that may be implemented, in your mind, what are some of the best things that can help the NBA in the next few years of some of the tweaks or changes?
Yeah, I think this is one I have to be careful that that maybe I'm not allowed to talk about as much. But a lot of the changes I've heard sound very good from the league office and NCAA and Commissioner Silver. He always does a good job pointing us in the right direction. So sorry, I can't give you a good soundbite on that one, but I think that's one that they're working on themselves.
All right, so since you can't do that, we don't want you to get fined or anything like that. How about a comment on the fact that they loosened up the restrictions on the shoes?
Yeah, what about that?
I mean, tell me, you got to be getting ready to expect
That's actually an interesting one. So I first got in the league, they had all these crazy rules about what shoes you could wear. I got in the league in 2002, and I could not understand it. And I had the good fortune to, not often, but to work with Red Auerbach, and he explained it to me. Now, often these stories end up being like when you dig into them, they're not true. So I haven't checked this, but what he told me was that it was when the league was first starting out, actually money for shoes was like a deal. There was really no money in the league back then. It was a struggling league when he was in it. So they wanted to make sure they had shoes that were basically easy to clean and could be standard so that the shoes were basically cheaper for everybody. That was what he explained to me, because I could not understand why you could only have black shoes and then they let you have your team color shoes and sometimes white shoes. That was basically the rule when I was in the league.
Well, it's interesting as Daryl Morey, the Rockets GM, joins us. There was a big controversy. The first Air Jordans that ever came out, they were a problem because they were red and black and there was no white in them. And that was a huge problem back in the early to mid 80s when Jordan was barnstorming all over the league and becoming a sensation. So Daryl Morey,
I'm pretty sure he probably got the real change.
Yeah.
There's a little money in that. It turned out.
Yeah, it turned out to be a growth industry, Daryl, as we figured out. So you've made some changes to the team. Obviously, Trevor Ariza, Bahamute are gone. Carmelo Anthony is in, who can certainly make some threes. How do we see him fitting into the Rockets lineup this year?
Yeah, we're excited. I mean, we think he fits well. I think Coach D'Antoni's really revised his system and has shown that we can add players and really get the most out of them. He puts them in good spots to succeed. He's someone that we've always felt like is fit. We've tried to acquire him a bunch of times, and we feel like we're really catching him at a good time. Our whole team, honestly, it reminds me a lot of the 08 Celtics team, in that everyone on the team has pretty much accomplished everything in their career. We've got, 3 almost for sure Hall of Famers on our roster now, and all they have to do that's left is win a championship. So I like that. I like that approach. They're all hungry. They're all focused. They're all veterans.
Well, Coach D'Antoni has infamously said in the past, Daryl, he left the Knicks job because of Melo. Was there a conversation at all you had with him before bringing Melo in?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, of course. We don't, Coach and I are a partnership, obviously. It really doesn't work too well, it turns out, to add a player to the team the coach doesn't want. So I think, I generally focus on that. I think Mike has talked about this, but in terms of what happened in New York, that was not, people maybe thought it was a personality thing, but I think it was more just of a fit thing at the time and the roster and how, the vision of how they wanted to play versus how Mike wanted to play was a little bit different. So I think it's pretty different at this point.
Daryl, we saw what your team did last year, so you come into this year obviously with expectations. And this changes from team to team. To you, what's deemed a successful year and what will be deemed a disappointing year?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, we're just, I think the only thing that's a successful year is a championship. And, we're right there. We were pretty much, in a Game 7. And last year, we were only going to judge it as success as a championship. So that's the case again. I think, I would add Mike D'Antoni and myself on the list of folks who, need the championship to sort of put the last thing on what we've hopefully trying to accomplish in the NBA.
Well, listen, a lot of folks in Houston hoping that comes through, and I promise, Daryl, the next time we have you on, I will not ask a single question about 27 straight missed frees in Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals. I promise.
If he does,
I appreciate that. So, yeah, hopefully it'll be, you'll have me on talking about how we beat Golden State. So
absolutely.
There you go.
All in. I think the rest of the NBA would rejoice a little bit if that would be the case. Daryl, thanks for being with us this morning.
Everyone's jumping on our bandwagon.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much.
A lot of Rocket fans.
Yeah. Daryl, thanks for being with us. Thanks so much. Daryl Morey is a fun guy.
Thought he was going to hang up on us for a minute.
I mean, 27.
Just one more. I promise, just one more.
Let me open that wound a little more. Pour some more salt in there. That's not true. Let's make the seamless transition from 27 straight missed threes to love on a plane.
When it comes to hiring, you don't have time to waste. You need help getting to your short list of qualified candidates fast. That's why you need Indeed.com. Post a job in minutes, set up screener questions, then zero in on qualified candidates using an intuitive online dashboard. And when you need to hire fast, accelerate your results with sponsored jobs. New users can try for free at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
You up?
You up.
You mean like a booty call text?
Yeah,
is that what you're talking about here? Is that where you're going?
I mean, I'm just...
You up?
Yes.
Wow. I'm going to try that right now to my wife. Okay. I just sent it. We'll see what I get back. I may have to leave the show. You know what I'm saying? I got a response.
What'd she say?
She just texted back, idiot. That mean I'm staying here?
Okay, that means she's not here for it. That's the next vernacular.
Not here for it?
Yeah, she's not here for it.
So if you weren't here for it, would you want to make it a point of texting back to say, yeah, I'm up, but you ain't getting this booty, you know what I'm talking about?
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Text my wife, you up. She called me an idiot.
She wins.
SportsCenter brought to you by DraftKings. DraftKings is hosting a fantasy football contest for Week 1 with $2 million up for grabs. Get the app or go to DraftKings.com. Do that now. Use the code Golic to play free with your first deposit. Minimum $5 is required. Eligibility restrictions do apply. Check out DraftKings.com for the details.
All right, Golic and Wingo here with you. Last segment on, we had GM Daryl Morey of the Rockets, obviously talking about the move to bring in Melo and what happened in Game 7 where they missed 27.
That you asked him, I think, 4 questions on.
It was important to get to the bottom. Because he's a math guy, right? So, from our researcher, Riley. Boy, Riley's the greatest researcher in the history
Without
of this
question.
show.
She's on top of it.
That last guy, Jim, Bob, whatever his name was, I don't remember him at all. She said there was a 1 in 72,000 chance that the Rockets would miss 27 in a row. That's a reflection of the underlying probability that they would have missed those specific 27 shots based on the skill of each player and the proximity of the nearest defender on that particular shot. That sounds like second spectrum stats.
I'm going to say you finished the first line and I went numb.
Yeah, so did I. That's why I had to play
I'm very good at stopping listening because I don't understand things anymore.
I've seen that about 3 hours today.
If I'm not going to understand it, I'm not going to listen further to it.
I think at that point you just focus in on what's on your shirt for those watching us on ESPN News. Donuts.
Yep.
I have a feeling that's how the wheels work with you. At some point, when the conversation is just too much, I see you just nodding in your head, and in your head you're just thinking,
so as you were reading that whole thing about that, my first thought was, what am I having for lunch today?
And it was a donut.
No. Well, it could be anything, just not listening to what that... It's a great stat, Riley, but it was way above my pay grade.
Donuts. What else you got?
No, okay.
You got... Oh, we got to... we got to do this story, right?
Yeah.
Just teased. All right, we're presented by Progressive Insurance. And here is a Progressive story, Michael.
Yes, it is.
According to a study... Where did this study come from, by the way, Stanzik? Do we know this? CNN.com. Okay. There can be a few more irritating people than your fellow airplane passengers.
Right.
But a study says 1 in 50 people find love on an airplane. 1 in 50.
And I would imagine the other 49 are just annoying.
Correct. That's
1 in 50 find love on an airplane. And we don't mean like Mile High Club.
No.
We mean like you found like love. The love of your life.
Can I tell you something?
What?
One of my best friends here at ESPN, that's exactly what happened to him.
What, Mile High Club or Love of His Life?
Well, I'll let you decide. No, the actual partner thing. He was flying somewhere to a concert, and the young lady sitting across the aisle from him was flying on the plane. They struck up a conversation, and 20-plus years later, they're still going strong.
Really? Yeah. Good for them.
Yeah.
The study also shows that over half of airplane passengers have struck up a conversation with a stranger on a plane. You do that? Or I like to kind of get in my own world.
I zone out, but I have had conversations. And some of the best conversations I've had on planes have been really fascinating about people that have lived crazy different lives and traveled to different places. Because I like to travel.
Yes, you do.
But most of the time I just put on the headphones.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big downloader of my Netflix stuff.
Binge.
Yeah.
Binge.
So that's kind of where I go into my own world, put on my noise cancelings and just plug on in, and that's kind of it.
Yeah.
Occasionally I've talked to people, and you're right, some people can get interesting, but normally I have my nose in my my iPad watching a movie.
It's a time of quiet reflection where you can just dive into something you want to do, right?
Yeah.
That's what I like about it. I'm not trying to be like, don't at me. But it's just it's your own quality time.
The greatest is when you have the headphones on, you're watching something, and somebody still tries to talk to you.
I'm having noise canceling headphones on. Why are we having this
movie in my ear? You're asking
these
me
things
this?
so audio can go into my brain. So I'm not trying to talk.
That happens
to you.
in first class too.
Yes, it does. Also, when you fly private. Not that I would know. Coming up, our next guest doesn't think Notre Dame is a national program.
What?
Oh, Golic's coming after him hard.
Right.
Heaven help us.
When it comes to hiring, you don't have time to waste. You need help getting to your short list of qualified candidates fast. That's why you need Indeed.com. Post a job in minutes, set up screener questions, then zero in on qualified candidates using an intuitive online dashboard. And when you need to hire fast, accelerate your results with sponsored jobs. New users can try for free at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
Remember when you couldn't order a ride at the press of a button? Or get online without hearing this? Or get Domino's delivered to over 150,000 unexpected outdoor locations? Wait, what? Introducing Domino's Hotspots. You can finally get pizza delivered right to the beach, the quad, or the dog park. Not at home? Not a problem. Find a Domino's hotspot near you and get 2 medium 2-topping pizzas delivered for $5.99 each. 2-item minimum. Handmade pan pizzas will be extra asked for this limited time offer. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary. Restrictions apply. Visit Domino's.com for details on Domino's hotspots.
Glad you're with us. Golic and Wingo, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests will join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. You can get in touch with us 2 ways. 1-800-Flowers.com Twitter feed at Golic and Wingo. Or you can call in 860-506-5505. We're talking about sibling rivalries.
Yes, we are. Yeah.
In light of what's happening with what's going on
with Serena and Venus, still blows my mind. Yeah. I mean, again, this is the 30th time they played, 16th time in a Grand Slam, and the Nike commercial that's out right now is one of the best one out there. With a young Serena and her father, like practicing together. He's working with her, and then they splice in her playing now. It's just really, really cool. But and I guess like anything else, you get appreciated more when they're going to be done playing because they're still playing now. But what the two of them have done and what the siblings have accomplished, and talking about greatest siblings, and one of them may be the greatest ever, what she did men or women's side.
Yep.
It's really, really incredible.
Yeah, we'll get to that in just a minute. Let's get to what else is in what's trending. We got some injury updates to get through.
Yes, we do.
If you're the Red Sox, this is the last thing you want to hear about. It doesn't look like it's going to be bad, but still it's a scare because you got Chris Sale on the DL again with that shoulder issue. He's your ace. And David Price was hit in the wrist by a comebacker last night. Now, he exited the game after that line drive off his left wrist to end the third inning. X-rays were negative. It's just a bruise, but still, this has been a record-setting season on so many levels for Boston. The last thing you want to think about as you get close to the postseason is your starting pitching getting back.
Because that's the thing. I mean, you have the season you're having right now, and you don't go all the way. What does it mean?
Yep.
Nothing, right?
Yep.
I mean, it's just kind of the way it's looked at. You're the most dominating team. You're going to be the favorite all the way through, and if you don't close the deal, those players will be what-ifing for the rest of their careers on that. Angels' Albert Pujols is going to have arthroscopic surgery on his knee, basically ending his season. Last 3 years, his WAR has been the 0.0 number. It hasn't been very good.
Nope.
He still has 3 more years of anywhere from $28, $29, and $30 million.
I think it goes $28, $29, $30 million.
I mean, it's just
deal.
I remember when he signed that deal because it was already up there in age. It was like, boy, is this one gonna? Again, it's a luxury tax thing. There's no hard cap in baseball, but still, you saw that and you're like, wow, that's just when you see a 25-year-old, 26-year-old get a deal like that, certainly a different story. Than someone in their 30s getting a deal like that.
Listen, and by the way, Albert, good for you.
Man.
Take all the
nothing
money.
to do with him. Absolutely right.
And then there's another injury we've been keeping our eye on. And it looks like it's good news here for the Mystics. Elena Delle Donne diagnosed with a bone bruise in the left knee. Now, look, bone bruise is not something insignificant, but when you're fearing a torn ACL, it's the best possible
That's exactly right. So it wasn't that. Nothing torn in there. It was a game that they ended up losing to Atlanta. So Washington and Atlanta it's 1 game apiece in a best of 5. Next game is Friday. So we'll see if she's going to be able to play or not. But certainly has a better chance to play in a game with a bone bruise instead of a torn ligament. So we'll see.
Absolutely. By the way, bone bruises during the regular season, the Mystics were 1-3 without Delle Donne. During the semifinals, the Mystics have shot just 25% from the field in approximately the 8 minutes with Delle Donne off the court.
She's one of the best players in the league. They're not winning anything without her. It's just, it's just the way it's going to be.
The question is, how much can she manage the issue with the bone bruise going forward? And as we were talking about earlier, both Serena and Venus won their second-round matches, which means they will meet up in the third round Friday night at the U.S. Open. Now, it's the earliest, or one of the earliest times they've ever met at a Grand Slam, but it is the 16th time, Mike, that they will meet in the Grand Slam against each other. It'll be the 30th meeting between them at any tournament.
I mean, it's one that I hope we don't take for granted too much, because at some point, obviously, it's going to be over because Father Time always wins. But you just see that, and if you just really sit and think about it, just how amazing it is to have 2 kids that are just that good.
Oh, it's insane. And that sort of spurred our entire thing about sibling rivalries.
Right.
And that's why we're asking on Twitter and at our call-in line, 860-506-5505, what has been your best sibling rivalry? And we've had some.
Yes, we have some crazy ones.
Pretty good ones.
No doubt about it.
Although I got to say my favorite one still might be the accordion lady. That was the best. She called in and said, my brother and I used to play the accordion. How cool is that? And she didn't play the accordion. So we said, hey, call back. She called back and played the accordion.
It was very neat.
That was very
good
very
job
cool.
out of her.
And then on the other end of very cool is this story. Okay, so Michael Kendricks is living proof that life comes at you fast.
Really fast.
Starting linebacker for the Eagles, wins a Super Bowl. Off-season, traded to Cleveland. And we believe Cleveland is going to be better this year.
Yeah, we do.
But they're still coming off the second 0-16 team in the history of the NFL,
right.
0-16 season. So he's traded from the Super Bowl champs to a winless team. That's not so good. And then he gets busted for insider trading, allegedly.
Well, I mean, he admitted to the wrongdoing if you read his post yesterday. So basically what happened a few years ago, he $80,000 of his own money, plus things like tickets as well.
Correct.
As gifts to entice. And he made approximately $1.2 million in profit off the illegal non-public information in 4 separate major deals. This was in 2014. As we read yesterday that he wrote, he's taken full responsibility. The issue was, though, John Dorsey stated, the GM of the Browns, that they knew about the situation when they traded for Michael, but the way they heard it or thought it was being portrayed to them was that Kendricks was the victim in this. And now Kendricks coming on saying, hey, I knew what I was doing. I was wrong. I take full responsibility. Dorsey said now it's presented to us in a whole different light. He's gone.
So, again, to recap, February, wins the Super Bowl, traded in the offseason to a winless team, insider trading, and released. Yeah. I mean, you want to talk about things changing quickly over an 8-month period.
So not just released. I mean, you're talking probably a heavy fine, possibly some jail time.
Yeah.
And right now you're out of the league.
And again, if you're always looking for a definition of irony, this might be the one. In the last episode of Hard Knocks, they were asking Michael Kendricks to get them ready for their preseason game with the Eagles. So he was giving them all the inside info on what he learned for the Eagles, and then he gets busted for insider trading. Yeah, you just can't get any.
No, you cannot.
I'm trying to think of somebody in our business that might be busted for insider trading, and I think it might be our next guest.
Could be.
It seems the Stugotz is strong in Stugotz.
Yes, it is.
And Stugotz from the Dan Le Batard Show. There he is, waving and ready to join us.
Thanks, Trey.
You're welcome, brother. We'll get to that part in a minute. But here's the question.
We will?
Yeah, maybe, if there's time.
Okay.
I do have to ask you this question, though. As a Jets fan, are you now assuming that Sam Darnold is going to get injured after they traded away Teddy Bridgewater?
100%. First snap of the regular season, Darnold's going to go down. We'll be stuck with Josh McCown for the rest of the season, who actually had a pretty good season last year. Yes, that's absolutely what's going to happen. Darnold will go down first snap of his NFL career. He'll be out for the season, Trey. Yes, thank you.
Nobody wants that. Let's be clear.
No.
Nobody's saying they want that to happen. You're saying, as a long-suffering Jets fan, that's the only way you can handle this news, right?
It's the way, yes. That's how, listen, we're a tortured fan base. I've never seen my team play in a Super Bowl. I'm not certain I'm ever going to see my team play in the Super Bowl. I think Tom Brady might outlast me, like my entire life, like on the field. Like, he'll still be playing once I'm 6 feet underground here. So, yeah, that's just the way Jet fans are kind of conditioned to think. Like, the worst possible thing is going to happen. So they trade Teddy Bridgewater. And listen, guys, in reality, it was a really good trade. They were saying, hey, Sam Darnold, it's your team, and the Jets got a 3rd-round pick, and I think it's a good deal for the Saints, too. I heard you guys talking about this on the way in. Drew Brees goes down, you got a good quarterback to back him up. And so I think the Jets did pretty well here. It's a little bit – you heard reports last week that they turned out a 2nd-round pick from the Seattle Seahawks for Teddy Bridgewater. So that is perfectly Jets. They turned out a 2nd-round pick and then take a 3rd-round pick from the Saints. But you know what? They got a 3rd-round pick. I'm fine with that. And they hand the team over to Sam Darnold. But yes, Trey, you are right. That's how we're conditioned to think. Oh, they traded Teddy Bridgewater? He's going to make it to the Hall of Fame, and Sam Darnold will be out of the league in 2 years.
Oh, my. The Jets making the switch to Sam Darnold. Make the switch is brought to you by Pennzoil Synthetics. Taking synthetic motor oil performance to a whole new level. Make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics.
And listen, Stu, he's looked good. In fact, all the rookie quarterbacks have actually looked pretty good. No doubt Darnold has the poise in the pocket and looks good. But as I tried to do earlier this morning, and I would ask you, let's pump the brakes on going to the Super Bowl. He's going to be a rookie quarterback. He's going to make rookie mistakes. This was a pick for the next 10 to 12 years. Can Jet fans keep that in their mind and not have that lofty of expectations this year?
Reasonable Jet fans. I don't know how many reasonable Jet fans we have out there, but I think everyone's excited. I think it's a good point. Even Jet fans can kind of sit back and just say, hey, you know what? It's a rookie quarterback. Everyone's raving about him. Tony Romo's saying he could be the best quarterback in the NFL one day. You have a lot of people saying, a lot of great things about Sam Darnold. A lot of people you respect and trust saying a lot of great things about Sam Darnold. I don't care what the team says. The team is going to say that he's going to be great. They drafted him. Of course they're going to say that, and they're trying to sell tickets. But I do think Jet fans can kind of sit back this year, realize Tom Brady's still playing quarterback for the Patriots, realize that team is pretty darn good, and they can sit back and just kind of enjoy Sam Darnold for a season. Let's see what we have there. Listen, I just want to see him grow. Like, I had this conversation with Will Kane on the radio last week. Will was asking, will Jet fans boo after 4 games if they get off to a 1-3 start and Sam Darnold isn't very good? Yes, we'll boo because we desperately want our team to be bad, and we will boo Sam Darnold. But I do think most Jet fans can kind of sit back this year and say, hey, you know what? There are 0 expectations. Let's just see if we have a quarterback here, because that's what this season should be all about. Do we have a quarterback for the next decade in New York? And that's what we want to see.
And again, as we're talking to Stugotz, if they do have that quarterback for the next decade, I'm not sure there's anything the Giants and Saquon Barkley can do outside of winning a Super Bowl that would justify them passing on Sam Darnold when you know Eli Manning is at the back end of his career. Okay, so you guys think you have a quarterback in New York. Stugotz, there is one team that knows they have a quarterback. Aaron Rodgers got the big bucks and the big bank, and you could make the case with all the money they paid him, Stu, he may still be underpaid.
Can you imagine Aaron Rodgers? Mike, what do you think Aaron Rodgers would make in an open market? If the NFL, just a free market, open market, what do you think Aaron Rodgers would make? Because I still think, Trey, it's such a great point. Think about how much money they just gave him. They still have a bargain at that position in Aaron Rodgers. He's the best in the game right now. Mike, in an open market, what do you think Aaron makes?
Oh, my God. I mean, you got to think in basketball, that's LeBron, and in football, that's Aaron Rodgers. You know, he's already going to average over $30 million a year, so you got to put him in the $40 million range. How about this stat we had, Stu, that Rodgers and Matt Ryan are the only 2 NFL players that have $100 million or more in guaranteed contracts, with Aaron Rodgers now 103, Matt Ryan 100. There are 61, there have been and still are 61 NBA players overall that have had or have $100 million contracts or more.
That's amazing. It really is. And listen, I don't know what the NFL players are going to do about this. I know they're starting to get frustrated. We were having some fun on the show yesterday, and we'll continue it today, that the deal Odell Beckham Jr. just signed, if you do it per season, Mike, he's going to make the same amount of money as a guy named Danny Duffy who plays in Major League Baseball. Like, it's absurd. It really is. It's absolutely absurd. But I don't know what the players can do other than when the next CBA comes around, Mike. Tell me what else they can do.
They can't.
They have to be willing. Right. But guys like Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, those guys need to be willing to say, hey, you know what? We're going to sit out until we get this right. And unless they do that, it's never going to change in the NFL. It's just not.
That part of it's not going to happen. I mean, they'll choose what to sit for. That's not going to be it, because you're always going to have it in every sport, but it's different in every sport of the have-nots of how high their number is. And in football, it's not very much. But unfortunately, that it's not going to happen that way. And I don't know what's going to change. The biggest difference is the hard salary cap as opposed to the soft salary cap. So we'll see. We got a few years before that one happens. How about we in the line of, boy, you think you've seen everything. What do you make of the Michael Kendrick situation? He gets cut because he got now caught, and we'll see what happens to him for insider trading. That and NFL player are 2 things you rarely think are going to get put together.
Yeah, but you know what? I didn't think Martha Stewart and inside trading would be put together.
Very good point, Stu. True. Very good point.
Yes, I didn't think that would be put together. I mean, listen, it's a crazy story. It really is. And now, Mike, as you pointed out, no longer in the NFL. I mean, there might be jail time attached to this. Trey, thank you so much for saying that the one guy most likely in the company to get fired for something like this would be me. I'm glad that you and I have become. I'm glad. No, this buddy. Listen. Dan always says, and I agree with him, insult to the language of intimacy amongst males. And Trey, I am glad we've arrived at a place where you feel comfortable saying that I would commit. Is it a felon? I don't even know if it's a felony. What is that? Like insider trading. But you know what, Trey? I am glad we've arrived at this place where in our relationship where you feel comfortable enough to say that about me. And I can just laugh it off.
Yeah, again, I have to, because every day I get these calls and questions that I hear from your show about me wearing silk-lined pajamas and taking gold silverware to eat at a diner. I don't know where any of this stuff comes from, man.
You look like a guy who would wear like satin pajamas. I mean, Mike, does he not?
Yeah, he does.
Oh, thanks. No, that's not true. It's not true. And I don't have gold silverware.
Trey, it doesn't mean you wear them.
Yeah.
It just means that you look like a guy who would wear them. We're not saying you actually do, but you absolutely look like a guy who would. I have a question for Golic real quick. Is that okay, guys?
Yeah, sure.
If I may. Mike, so I heard you guys talking to Brian Kelly on the way in.
Yep.
And I'm wondering, from a player standpoint, and I heard Mark Richt as well saying, hey, maybe I should have thought a little bit clearer before I booked LSU in the opening game of the season. But I'm wondering, Mike, from a player's mentality, do you want to start from a player mentality and a fan mentality? Because you were a player and now you're a fan. You're a big Notre Dame fan. And you should be the celebrity picker this week, by
Thank
the way.
you. Appreciate
no
that.
question about it. You have my vote, Mike Golic. Not that my vote means anything.
Well, yeah.
But
you and me both.
I am wondering, Mike, as a player and as a fan, do you like starting the season with Michigan?
Here's the thing.
I love it. I don't have a horse in the race, so I love the matchup.
Here's the thing. As a fan, you debate it much more because you're not doing anything about it.
Right.
As a player, one thing I'll say as a player, what you do really quickly is understand it doesn't matter what you think. This is the reality of the situation. And leave it to Ed Orgeron, the head coach of LSU, to basically say, that's who's on the schedule, that's what we got to play. There's nothing you can do about it. So we don't spend time, or I guess in this case, waste time saying, man, I wish we weren't doing this. We are doing this, so let's make the most of it. Let's get the win. Let's build our momentum. So I don't think that's a great answer, Stu, maybe one you wanted, but that's coming from a player side. We're very quick to say there's no sense in being philosophical about whether we want to do it or don't want to do it. We have to do it. So the only thing we can do is prepare to get ready to do it.
Right. No, and I guess that makes sense.
That was really impressive, by the way.
Well, but fans,
that was impressive.
Well, fans will debate it like crazy. I mean, I could sit here and make arguments for both sides of it, depending on your team. If you have a veteran type team coming back, a lot of upperclassmen, I'd have no problem starting out with a game like this. But if you don't, maybe I wouldn't. I mean, so again, it's a lot is about how your team is built and structured, especially at the key positions.
Right, but I'm just thinking, like, Mike, you can have 2 losses. You can't have more than 2 losses in college football. And so if I'm a fan, now listen, I grew up in New York and college football is not that big. Like, we rooted for brands. I rooted for the University of Miami. I would always watch Notre Dame and Michigan. But in the Northeast, as you guys know, college football is not that big of a deal. If I went to a school like Notre Dame or Michigan or a school like that, Florida State, I would not want to start my season like that. You can't afford to have losses, and I don't trust my team early on. So I would rather have a couple of cupcakes leading up, build some momentum, and then go start playing your conference play and start playing those big dogs. You can't afford a loss in college football.
I think your thought would be the majority of the people thinking that way to ease into it. Because, look at Notre Dame without having, and we'll get into them in a second here about where we differ in our thought a little bit. You look at them in last year and then 2015, last year, second game of the season, lose to Georgia. Then they were still in the national picture all the way till they lost to Miami, the third last game of the season. Then they were out. 2015, they lose in the first few weeks to Clemson, but they win all their games, and they're still in the national picture until the last game of the season against Stanford, and they lose, and then they're out. They, like most teams, can really only afford 2 losses unless they expand the playoffs some because they're not in a conference, which leads to the topic. I heard you and Dan and even Mike Ryan chiming in about Notre Dame not being a national team anymore, and you were saying powerhouse and team, and I text you right away. I said Notre Dame is a national team. Notre Dame still is a national team. So it depends on what your talk. Are you saying, are they a national powerhouse? Well, now what's your definition of what a powerhouse is? Are they consistently in the playoffs? No, they haven't been. They've been right on the verge of it last year and 2 years ago until right at the end of the season. But as far as the national team, Stugotz, you can't deny that. That team can go anywhere in the country and sell out. They're going to Yankee Stadium this year, sell out. They're going to San Antonio this year, they'll sell out. They're a national team in that respect. If you want to talk about national powerhouse, we can go year to year and debate that.
I think what Dan was saying was college football basically is a regional sport, and I happen to kind of agree with him on that. And we're all just and the rest of the country, from a national perspective, we're just waiting to see if Alabama's ever going to lose. I think that. So, Mike, I happen to agree with you. I think Notre Dame, they're not a national powerhouse, you know that, but yes, I think Notre Dame is one of the few schools regardless of what stadium they show up to, and regardless, quite frankly, of who the opponent is,
right.
Yes, that stadium's going to sell out very, very quickly. I would say of any school in college football, of all the programs in college football, they are the most famous one. They are the biggest draw for fans in terms of filling a stadium, probably television as well, especially when they're really, really good, as you know. So, Mike, I 1,000% agree with you on that. Trey, you will laugh at this, though. Mike sent me, we're having this conversation, Mike texted me an entire defense of Notre Dame, the football. They're a powerhouse. They're a national name. They're a national brand. I simply responded, Brian Kelly's overrated.
That's what I get from him.
Well, I
it's his observations.
I just came back with his coach is overrated.
It's his observation. Well,
that's his argument.
But the entire Levitar show thinks all of coaches are overrated. I mean, that's a founding principle of the show, right?
Hey, you guys would agree. Yeah, well, for me it is, certainly. But you guys would agree. Mike, you expected more out of Brian Kelly when he took over Notre Dame. And we all expected more through 3 seasons when Jim Harbaugh took over Michigan. Like these two, we love to prop these coaches up, especially these two. These two have been a disappointment at their respective schools, have they not?
Well, I mean, listen, Notre Dame was in the title game in 2012, and as I mentioned, last year it took to the third last game of the season for them to be knocked out. And then in 15, it took to the last game of the season for them to be knocked out. So they've been somewhat close, but I do understand your point, and I said that about Harbaugh as well. You know, not even finishing best third in your division,
yep.
And not. I've asked Michigan people, you know, how long is your lease? But this year, let me tell you, I think Michigan's got one of the best defenses I think you're going to see in the country this year.
Well, we'll find out. And listen, we literally could do this all day, but clock integrity. We have to.
I gotcha.
We have to. Stu, I want to say something clearly. I love you. There's no way I ever think you would be convicted of insider trading. I just want to put that out there.
But Trey, that's fine. It's like you look like you wear silk pajamas.
My God, what are you talking about? I have no idea what you're saying.
I look like a guy who'll be thrown in prison for insider trading. I'm fine with it. As long as you're good, I'm good, Trey. That's the friendship. It's a budding friendship,
We are all good, my friend. We got to figure out that next golf date. We got to find the next golf scam. That's the thing we're working on more than anything else.
Thanks,
Get on it. We should charge $24.99 to watch us play.
Nice.
Oh, God, that would be the worst money invested ever. Stu,
Thanks,
we
Stu.
appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week, buddy.
Stu's not going to jail.
All right,
friends.
guys. See you.
Support for the Golic and Wingo Show podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Let's talk about buying homes for a minute. Because of rising interest rates, there's a lot of unpredictability when it comes to buying a home these days. It's causing a whole lot of anxiety with folks. Well, our friends at Quicken Loans are doing something about it. They're calling it the power buying process, and here's how it works. Quicken Loans will verify your income, assets, and credit in less than 24 hours to give you a verified approval. This gives you the strength of a cash buyer. Then once you're verified, you qualify for their all-new exclusive Rate Shield approval. First, they lock your rate for up to 90 days while you shop. Now here's the best part. If rates go up, your rate stays the same. But if rates go down, your rate also drops. You win either way. It's the kind of thinking you'd expect from America's largest mortgage lender. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Golic. Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year purchase transactions. Additional conditions or exclusions may apply. Based on Quicken Loans data in comparison to public data record. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
Remember when you couldn't order a ride at the press of a button? Or get online without hearing this? Or get Domino's delivered to over 150,000 unexpected outdoor locations? Wait, what? Introducing Domino's Hotspots. You can finally get pizza delivered right to the beach, the quad, or the dog park. Not at home? Not a problem. Find a Domino's hotspot near you and get 2 medium 2-topping pizzas delivered for $5.99 each. 2-item minimum. Handmade pan pizzas will be extra asked for this limited time offer. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary. Restrictions apply. Visit Domino's.com for details on Domino's hotspots.
I'm still waiting for that to happen, by the way.
What, Thong Thursday?
Yeah.
Oh, it's happened.
Really? I just didn't
It's happening
know.
right now.
Okay. America, I apologize. Mm-hmm. Glad you're with us, Golic and Wingo.
Can you say
Radio, ESPN News?
Dental floss?
So now I would like to go back in time, just so you know.
All right.
Go through that all over again. Okay, so I have to say, sometimes you shouldn't respond to people on social media.
But you did.
I did.
You just couldn't let it go, could you?
Well, I tried to be nice about it. Look,
I'm sure.
No, I was.
No sarcasm?
No, this time, no.
Okay.
This time, no. We had the discussion yesterday, or was it 2 days ago, where Jerry Jones was putting forth the idea of an 18-game regular season
2
schedule.
2 preseason, 18 regular.
Yeah, and we all concluded, and his thing was it'll make the game safer.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly that's not the case. That's
let's
ridiculous.
Just stop it. It's going to make people more money.
It's going to make about money. So I posted that on Instagram, and a guy responded by saying, the prices for the regular season games and the tickets for the preseason games are the same, so it's just the money for an inferior product. And I was like, okay, do I have to explain this?
Well, I hope you were gentle.
I said it's not about the cost of the ticket.
It's not.
It's about the revenue generated from 2 extra games in the regular season, which is about $31 million. It has nothing to do with the price of the ticket, man. No. That's irrelevant. If anybody thinks that when they buy a ticket,
somebody that didn't understand.
Yeah, I was just
and you were just helping them.
Let's get this clear. For anybody that thinks when you buy a ticket you're paying for the salary of the players, you're not. You're not. All of that money comes in from a million different ways. That's just extra that's thrown in. The price of the ticket does not cover the salary.
Part of the profit of the owner.
That's exactly right. When you have 5 television networks that are paying in excess of $1.5 billion per season to the NFL, that's where everything comes from. Everything.
That's where operating revenue comes from.
Exactly. It's not about the price of the ticket. So I just had to explain that. And we
really had you heated up. I'm glad you were calm about it.
I just didn't understand how someone could think that that's
what we were talking about. There are people that just don't understand the nuances of it. There's many things I don't understand. Like when Riley was explaining the odds of missing 27 straight threes like the Houston Rockets did, and she was doing math. I didn't understand it.
You didn't. And I didn't either.
I just stayed very calm about it.
Yes. So I had to explain.
Okay.
I had to explain that.
Well done.
Because there's a lot of money going on in the NFL.
Yes, there is.
Aaron got paid. And this is the new normal, I think we're seeing, Mike. Look, over this past year and a half, what have we seen? Matt Ryan, $100 million.
Right.
Kirk Cousins, $84 million guaranteed. He turned down $90 million guaranteed with the Jets to decide with the Minnesota Vikings, which you understand because he has a better chance to win in Minnesota. And on some level, 90 and 84, what's $6 million between friends?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, well, that's one of those where you just decide, okay, it's $6 million less, but I'm a more ready now team.
Yeah, without question. A team that was, had the lead on the road in the NFC Championship game a year ago. And they're getting everybody back and healthy. But the Aaron Rodgers contract is interesting, Mike, because I think it symbolizes a couple of things. Number one, we're going to see more guaranteed contracts in football. But I think it's going to continue the gap between the haves and the have-nots.
That I don't think is going to – I don't think that's going to go away. The new CBA, we're talking about what will players fight for, and if it takes the big-time money guys to sit out to help send the message, I just don't think it's going to happen. I'll say again, in 1987, when we struck as football players and walked out and missed 4 games, it wasn't the run-of-the-mill foot soldiers like myself that crossed the picket line. It was the stars of the league, the guys making the most money that crossed the picket line. So they're just not going to do it. And I don't always mean that in a bad way. It's very difficult for close to 2,000 guys to just stick together when you have 32 owners who have way deeper pockets and can outlast you. They'll pick the things they're going to fight for, and hopefully they'll win some of those battles in the next negotiation. We'll see. So Aaron Rodgers, $103 million guaranteed. That's the highest. And then it's Matt Ryan with 100, Matthew Stafford 92, Andrew Luck 87, Kirk Cousins 84. I asked this earlier in the show. Who's the quarterback that will beat that? Because it will get beaten. There's no doubt about it.
Yep.
There will be somebody else. And again, the deal could be $184 million. We all know that, blah, blah, blah. The last number doesn't matter a whole lot because things get renegotiated and such. The guaranteed money. Well, who's the next contract that will beat that guaranteed money? My former teammate in both Notre Dame and in the NFL, Mike Kelly, offensive lineman, he texted me and said Deshaun Watson.
Could be.
Now, Deshaun Watson still got a couple of years before that can happen. Is there and again, a lot of this is timing.
Yeah.
What upper echelon quarterback is close to being able to do their next deal?
And again, it's not saying that they're going to be the best. It's saying they're going to be good enough on a team that values their production and wants to keep growing with them
at the right time.
Centerpiece. I think it's one of 3 names. And
okay.
I think, your teammate Mike nailed one of them. I think it's
Deshaun Watson.
I think it may be Carson Wentz, and it may just be Jared Goff. I think those are the three most likely because we are talking quarterbacks here.
Oh,
okay?
well, yeah. And nobody. We're not going to have a non-quarterback be the highest guaranteed money player in the league. Even Aaron Donald's not doing that.
Although it's weird, we talked about it yesterday. The deal that Geno Atkins got for someone that's not a quarterback over the age of 30. Over $16 million.
Yeah, he did.
So we are seeing a trickle-down effect.
And this is about guaranteed money. We believe Aaron Donald, we think he may be in the 80s.
Yep.
70 to 80s.
We hear that's going to be close. I mean,
we keep hearing that's going to be close.
Who does a great job for us on ESPN.com covering the Rams, basically said there was a conversation with Sean McVay like they were texting, and Aaron said, we'll see you soon.
See, again, we're pushing the first week of the season. Remember, he sat out last year until he showed up the first week, and they felt it was too late to play in the first game.
Right.
So when is this? You would like it to be before you start the first work week for the first game so you can kind of get him going. Our own Louis Riddick was in Pittsburgh for an event and saw Aaron Donald. Said he looks like he's in fantastic shape, which is great, but he's not in football shape. Now, the beauty of that position is you can roll in every now and then. He doesn't have to, put his hand in the dirt 70 times in a game in game one. He can work himself in a little bit, unlike a quarterback or an offensive lineman or something like that. But we'll see. You got to get the deal done first.
Yeah, and the other one that Stanzik actually just brought up, which I think is a very good point, Russell Wilson.
I thought about Russell Wilson as well.
He'll be 31, and again, he's going to be at that time. He'll be 30. Aaron Rodgers is going to be 35 in December. Russell will be 31 when his deal comes up. He might be the first next big one because of timing.
But I don't think he beats that deal.
Yeah, you don't think so?
I don't think he beats that deal.
Yeah,
I think they're going. As far as numbers, the numbers, and a lot of it's not his fault.
No, not at all.
That he doesn't have big flashy numbers. He's running for his life most of the time.
I think he had all the touchdowns offensively, save for one last season. For the Seattle offense, all but one touchdown scored offensively for Seattle came either off the arm or the legs of Russell Wilson in 2017. And the overlying picture that you need to understand when you're talking about these contracts is that the NFL owners believe, and I think rightly so, that their financial future is as bright as it's ever been.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because in an era of declining television ratings, the surest bet ever right now is an NFL football game.
Yeah.
And television entities know that. Television entities continue to fight for that. The new Thursday night deal on Fox, way more money than the last deal. And again, the big carrot that's still hanging out there that they've never given away, Mike, streaming rights. Streaming rights on websites. There's going to be that included in the next deal, and that is going to be a financial boom for both the players and the owners.
Well, I don't know where Russell Wilson is in his contract, how many more years he has left or where he might be.
I think it's 2 years, right?
Maybe I'd be wrong about him. Maybe he would. I mean, he'd obviously get a monster deal. Would he get a deal that would overtake Aaron Rodgers? I do not know. He's obviously an excellent quarterback, but he's been so hamstrung with what's been around him in that offense.
And again, speaking of hamstrung, look what Seattle did. They tried to get all those players and win before they had to pay the quarterback. And that's exactly what the Rams are doing with Jared Goff. I think they've got 3 years left on him with the fifth-year option as a first-round pick, so they can bring in an Ndamukong Suh. They can bring in a Brandon Cooks, all in to win now before they know they're going to have to pay that quarterback big, big bucks. Coming up, week one of the college football season, and we are almost ready. We just need to clarify one more thing, and we'll tell you what that is after this.
When it comes to hiring, you don't have time to waste. You need help getting to your short list of qualified candidates fast. That's why you need Indeed.com. Post a job in minutes, set up screener questions, then zero in on qualified candidates using an intuitive online dashboard. And when you need to hire fast, accelerate your results with sponsored jobs. New users can try for free at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
This fall, there's only one man we can rely on.
What do we have to do to get Golic as one of the celebrity pickers one of these Saturdays?
Only one man who exudes professionalism.
Will it be a problem if I'm drunk?
This fall, vote Mike Golic for celebrity picker at College Game Day. Endorsed by Kirk Herbstreit.
We got to get you on the set to have you do the dance.
Careful, he may show up naked.
And a definitely unbiased endorsement from Notre Dame's Brian Kelly.
I don't know why you're not the celebrity.
And Stugotz.
You have my vote, Mike Golic. Not that my vote means anything.
Well, yeah.
Vote Petty, vote Golic.
I'm Mike Golic, and I approve this message.
Vote
God,
Petty.
I love us sometimes.
We're the Petty Party.
Sports Center brought to you by Valspar Stain. Just a reminder, if doing your deck is on your to-do list this summer, put new Valspar Stain on your shopping list. That way, you can get all weather protection and more inspiring color. Valspar exterior stain only at Lowe's. The greatest part of all this is if somehow, some way I got a call and they asked me to be the guest picker, I'd say no.
You'd say no?
No, I wouldn't.
You're going to turn them down after all of this.
Wouldn't that be something if I said no?
You know what that would be?
What?
The pettiest show in America.
That's exactly
it. Would almost fit, wouldn't it?
That would be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me just say, I'm not going to get asked.
You know what? You never know.
Yeah, well.
Hang in there. Don't give up on your dreams.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so again, we're full immersion. College football, we got games tonight.
Yes.
It's the first big weekend. We have 4 ranked unranked opponents playing each other, including Notre Dame hosting Michigan. So I'm going to exclude that from you for this question because I think we all know where you
listen. I think Michigan is going to be real. I think it's going to be a tough game for Notre Dame. I'm obviously going with Notre Dame, but Michigan, they have that quarterback and Shea Patterson, the kind of quarterback Harbaugh wanted. Their defense, as I said, could be one of the best in the country. Injuries could derail them a little bit. They've had a little bit of that, but they're going to be a tough out for Notre Dame, no doubt about it.
All right, so my question then becomes, take that one away from it because for a variety of reasons, that's why you'll be very interested. Of all the games that are going to be going out there this weekend, which one are you most interested in besides that one?
Well, what are the other ranked? You have
we got Washington,
Auburn. Washington always gets criticized for the easy out-of-conference schedule, right?
Not this year.
And the Pac-12 is not considered one of the tougher conferences, so you add easier out-of-conference and Pac-12, they look to be the team. A lot of people are looking at them, possibly Stanford, to represent out of the Pac-12. But now starting off with Auburn, I mean, that is a tough goal, I think, for them to come right out of the gate. So we'll see how that. I am looking forward to how Washington answers the bell early in the season on that one.
I am too, for that reason. And listen, a lot of people are really high on the quarterback at Auburn, Jarrett Stidham, who has been through a ton. It feels like he's been around forever. He was at my alma mater, Baylor, had the neck injury, then went to Auburn, had some injuries there. He's back one more time. That one is fascinating to me in a lot of levels.
And think about Auburn's side; they're playing Washington here, and then in 2 weeks they're playing LSU.
Yeah, it's tough.
I mean, it's a home game for Auburn, but still, it's a couple of tough games right out of the gate. Same for LSU and for Auburn.
Yeah, and then you've got LSU against Miami. Neutral site game.
So that one, as we've talked about, LSU always tough on defense. We know that. Great athletes on defense. The new quarterback, the kid, the Ohio State transfer, the grad transfer that didn't show up till after spring. But so you can look at it 2 ways. Showed enough, and you know they're going to talk positive about him. But on the other side, could you look at it and say, dude doesn't show up till after spring?
Right.
So there's summer workouts, not in pads at all. And then you have the couple of weeks in August, and he's your starter. Does that maybe talk more about what you maybe didn't have there at the quarterback position? You're going to look at both sides of it however you want, but we need to see an offense out of them. Going against the U, how does the U come off of last year of what they did?
A resurgence.
Coming back, their 2 top receivers gone. Again, 95 receptions between those two. The next 6 equaled 95. The tight end that they were going to have was one of them that's gone, and Michael Irvin's kid is hurt for the first 4 months. So, let's see what they can do if they have to do a little ground and pound at all. The quarterback can run.
Yeah, we're presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests have joined us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. I'm trying to think, when Russell Wilson made the transfer from North Carolina State to Wisconsin, did he get there? Was he there for spring ball? I can't remember.
You know what? I don't know.
He got there late. I mean, it worked so quick for him, they made him the team captain.
Yeah, it did.
Right away up in Wisconsin.
I mean, and you could tell, obviously, you saw the way he's walked into the league as a rookie third-rounder, beating out the money guy they got there in Matt Flynn, but he was first guy in, last guy out right from the get-go. Yeah. His leadership ability wasn't questioned at all.
Yeah, I think that's what they're hoping for, that sort of transition with Josh Burrow. Again, college football immersion tonight. Central Florida going to continue to wave that banner as they try and get another national championship. We'll see you later.
When it comes to hiring, you don't have time to waste. You need help getting to your short list of qualified candidates fast. That's why you need Indeed.com. Post a job in minutes, set up screener questions, then zero in on qualified